You there! Start the countdown.
Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You lose. Starto.
And by the way, Facebook, shut up.
On your mark, get set. Let's go.
I can't do it. We'll do it live. Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Mister, will you please wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up?
Good morning. Kevin Durant, you should have left California.
This Brownsexual will upset me in having to bring this teenage idiot from Wisconsin into a sports conversation. Are you really surprised the Cowboys are giving up on Ezekiel Elliott?
Whoa. Hell no. Well, no one cares about baseball.
Bitch, are you for real?
Away we go on a Friday. Good morning. Welcome one and all to the fabulous, fantastic football Friday edition of Snowman in the Morning. Glad to have y'all with us. And over the course of the past 12 hours, I've had some things happen, but they are not going to stop me or us or this from going. My apologies for yesterday. A little bit of confusion on my part on what to do, and my partner wasn't able to make it. I wasn't able to make it. I was just flat tired, and I listened to my body and I rested. That is the end of that. Well, we're going to do a special edition of the Whip Around presented by Fanatics, and it's centered around hockey. The Pacific Division champions are the, why are we surprised? Vegas Golden Knights. They won their last game of the year, and they have claimed the Pacific Division. Our congratulations to the Knights. In doing so, I am getting the scores up right now, and we will look at the standings, and we will also pay tribute to two of the greats of the game. And I say two because they are no longer in the city that drafted them. First, the scoreboard. Flyers over the Blackhawks in overtime in the final game of the season for the Blackhawks, 5-4. Sabres over the Senators. That also went overtime, 4-3. Blue Jackets, 3. Penguins, 2. Penguins are out of the playoffs. Hurricanes over the Panthers 6-4. Bruins beat the Canadiens 5-4 to add to their record-winning total. It was the Maple Leafs over the Rangers 3-2. Lightning shut out the Red Wings 5-0. Devils over the Capitals 5-4. That's in overtime. Avalanche double up the Jets 4-2. Dallas over St. Louis 1-0. Predators beat the Wild 4-3. That was in overtime. Oilers over the Sharks 5-2. Kings beat the Ducks 5-3. Vancouver over Arizona in overtime 5-4. And the Vegas Golden Knights beat the Seattle Kraken. That final 3-1. And they lay claim to the Pacific Division. The Atlantic Division champions are the Boston Bruins. The Metropolitan champions are the Carolina Panthers by virtue of 1 point over the New Jersey Devils, 113 to 112. I'm being handed some notes here as we go along. Dallas 1 point up on Colorado with a game to play, and that's probably the mistake that I made. People will correct me. And Vegas beats Edmonton 111 to Vegas has 111 points to claim the Pacific Division. Via conference, the standings go like this. The top seed in the East is the Boston Bruins with 135 points, and the top seed in the West are the Vegas Golden Knights. They've been there before. Beg your pardon. They've been there before with 111 points. Colorado, the defending Stanley Cup champions, with a game to play with 107 points. They are the number 4 seed. And now that we got that out of the way, David 3000 Network joining us this morning. David, where are you talking to us from? Let's greet you properly. Ryan McCarthy, A Pizzle, also in the who do you think I am? Chris Fowler? Yeah, I got a lot of Chris Fowler in me. Well, now that we got that done, that's this version of the Whip Around presented by Fanatics, and I have a very special tribute to pay. And to do this properly, because I got a little misty-eyed last night with what I saw at the United Center. Yes, I actually watch hockey, and lots of it. And this is going to be a difficult one for me to do. Just so y'all know, this is going to be a difficult one for me to do. I must pay tribute to two of the greats of the game, as they are no longer in my hometown. It's going to be tough for me to watch my Blackhawks next year and not see neither Patrick Kane, number 88, nor Jonathan Toews, number 19, in a Blackhawk sweater. Why is it going to be tough? Because Jonathan Toews officially played his final game as a Blackhawk last night in a loss to Philadelphia. And you know what's weird? He nearly had a chance to win the thing. He had a breakaway opportunity, and the goalie for Philadelphia made a great save. That would have been the way to go out. But unfortunately, Philadelphia played better in overtime and won the game 5-4. And 22,000 gave Jonathan Toews a well-deserved standing ovation. I mean, every time Toews touched the puck, they were standing and cheering. To not be able to hear Gene Honda call out Jonathan Toews nor Patrick Kane anymore is going to be a little sad to me, because My faith in hockey was restored in 2006 when we drafted both Patrick Kane and Jonathan Toews. Three Stanley Cups they won together, and they won them all in Chicago. As you hockey fans know, earlier this year, Patrick Kane was traded to the New York Rangers. So the full rebuild is on in Chicago. I get that. I understand that. It was time. But it still doesn't mean it's going to be easy. Oh, Captain Sirius, Showtime Kaner, you guys restored the roar in Chicago. You guys restored the foghorn in Chicago. The faith of a city was united because of Jonathan Toews and Patrick Kane. I mean, we've had stars for the Blackhawks before: Doug Wilson, Dennis Savard, Eddie the Eagle Belfour, Jeremy Roenick. But it was just something about those two. When they were drafted in 2006, and I'm trying not to get misty-eyed because it was so hard to see him leave the ice at the United Center for the last time. And it's so hard to see them separated. They will indeed be missed. You want a pair of reasons why the roar was restored on the West Side? Why the Madhouse became the Madhouse on Madison? You got two of them: Jonathan Toews and Patrick Kane. I don't even have to tell you or try to convey to you the myriad of moves they put on opponents. All I have to do is, in my best way, the best way I know how, illustrate what they meant to Chicago, what they meant to the Blackhawks, and what they meant to a city starved for a Stanley Cup. On June 9th, 2010, in the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Patrick Kane delivered the overtime winner that set off the dynasty. And no one knew the puck went in except Patrick Kane. How about that? No one knew the puck went in except Patrick Kane. When you're a hockey player, you know when things happen. He knew that, and a city celebrated. I remember where I was that night. I was on my way back home to Gary, Indiana, as I had just done a game, baseball game in Highland, Indiana. I immediately turned on John Weideman's call on WGN since I couldn't view it. And when John Weideman went crazy, when Ed Olczyk went crazy, I went crazy. Yes, I went crazy. I was honking my horn, flying up the highway. I was honking my horn, flying up 80. Flying down I-80, I should say. Down to Gary, Indiana, to my little apartment. And I'm really trying not to cry here because of the influence those two had on me. And that team, the way they just kept retooling around Toews and Kane. Last night was the end of an era. And no, Sig Diggy, I was not pulled over. Matter of fact, when I started honking my horn and yelling out my window, the Blackhawks just won the Stanley Cup, I had about 8, 9, 10 people join me in celebration. And later that night, Victor joined me. I never ate so much chicken and drank so much beer in my life. I'm serious. Victor stopped by Popeyes when he got the word that the Blackhawks won it all. And he texted me. He says, I will be over with chicken in 20 minutes. Because he wasn't far away. You want to talk about a celebration? I think that was all of Chicago. And the next day, that rally in Grant Park, the only rival to that were the Bulls championships. So to Captain Sirius and Showtime Kaner, you will forever be beloved by a city that you entertained for 17 years. You will forever be beloved by a city that you captivated for 17 years. You will forever be appreciated by a city that you entertained and captivated and thrilled the daylights out of for 17 years. But if there's nothing else we appreciate you for, it's 2010, 2013, and 2015. And I was there for Game 6 in 2015 against the Tampa Bay Lightning. And Patrick Kane scored the final goal of the postseason. And the Blackhawks won that game 2-0. It's the last hockey game I ever attended. And wouldn't you know it, it just happened to be a cup clincher. When we won it all in 2013, I was on a train. Bickle and Bolin, 17 seconds apart against the Boston Bruins. Taves and Kane played terrific that entire game. They may not have scored, but they had an influence. And as I mentioned, I was in the United Center in 2015. Me and 22,000 of my best friends losing our minds when we won the cup on home ice. And at the center of it all was Jonathan Taves and Patrick Kane, not to mention Duncan Keith, not to mention Corey Crawford, not to mention Marian Hossa. That dynasty of the Chicago Blackhawks, that era of the Chicago Blackhawks will forever be appreciated and never, ever, ever be forgotten. Thank you, Patrick Kane. And thank you, Captain Sirius, a.k.a. Jonathan Taves. That's a tearful Snowman's take. What is yours? Somehow you knew I needed to laugh.
Yes.
Somehow you knew I
will
needed
talk
to
about
laugh
Jonathan
after.
Taylor. Mm-hmm.
Somehow you knew I needed to laugh after the tears I shed watching Jonathan Taves play his last Blackhawks game. All right, we owe you that.
Yeah.
And I actually have one handy. So I'm glad
Oh,
you played.
really?
Yes, I have one. I have one handy.
Oh, okay.
And since it's Friday and we're usually off the rails on Friday anyway. And I owe Victor this one. I owe y'all this one. I owe Victor this one especially because Victor just happened to be involved. And ladies and gentlemen, my partner, Cole Johnson, aka Cole Sports. All right. You know, living with a Cub fan was a royal pain in the patootie. It was a pain. It was. There was barely any food in the house, even though I bought it.
Oh, Lord.
You've been there.
Yes, I have.
I know you've been there. Brian Bills from the Sports Stuff Company joining us out of St. Louis. And here's my Cub of experience. It involved my St. Louis Cardinals.
Oh. Well, I guess Sports Stuff Company gonna like this then.
This one's necessary. So many times in 2 years, I've watched the Scrubs play the St. Louis Cardinals.
Not the Scrubs.
You know how I feel.
Well, yes, you call one of the most venerable buildings in America Raggedy Field. So yes, I do know.
Raggedy ass field. Matter of fact, I shared this. I didn't share this with Victor. They were playing the St. Louis Cardinals. Victor and I were at Ho Chunk Complex working travel baseball. And updates were flying in. 1-0 Scrubs. 2-0 Scrubs. 2-1 Scrubs. But this one actually involves the roommate. It was 8-6 Scrubs in the 8-7. I beg your pardon. 8-7 Scrubs in the 9th inning. They got the first out. They got the second out. And the roommate comes up to my room, and I wanted to punch him, and said, "You know we're 1 out away from winning, right?" I said, "Yeah, you have to get that out."
Yeah.
Well, Benji Molina decided to crush that dream on a 2-1 pitch out to left center field. And I didn't watch the Cubs broadcast feed. I watched St. Louis's broadcast feed.
Oh, Lord.
And listened to John Rooney call 2 Cardinal home runs, and the roommate is yelling at me going, "What are you doing with them on?" Because I know the broadcaster, perhaps. Well,
That would help. Yeah.
Yeah, it would help that I had a chance to meet John Rooney, the legendary John Rooney.
Right.
Well, tied at 8. I went down, fried up a couple of brats, butterflied him, made him into a special sandwich. Roommate said, "You need to fix me one. You need to kiss the back of my ass."
How?
I was in a mood. And when I got back upstairs and put the headphones back on, Matt Carpenter on the very next pitch. Pow!
Underrated hitting pitcher.
off the same pitcher. St. Louis 9, Scrubs 8.
You with the Scrubs.
Find the frickin' lie. One championship, and all of a sudden they're hailed as gods. Shut up.
Oh, so you mean to tell me you were basically like this whenever you hear that God comment? She.
Chris Paul, anyone?
Point God.
And Stephen Curry has cooked his ass.
Saint four. Cups.
9-8 St. Louis. I went down and butterflied 2 more brats, fixed him up, and I went back upstairs. The roommate was waiting for me. And he says, so when are you gonna do that for me? How about the 12th? 12th and when? 12th and never.
Never.
Ever.
Ever.
Every time I cooked, it was for me. Period.
Good.
I went to see, every time I go see Victor on the South Side, we're both cooking up something. Monte Cristo dogs, some chicken, whatever. I didn't cook for that SOB ever again. And now I'll read this. This Cubdom experience is brought to you by Nurse Namastasia's Northside Incense. For when you have the blues from watching the Scrubs lose, trust in Nurse Namastasia's Northside Incense. I love that. If y'all have ever lived with a fan of a team enemy, you'll need a few of those woosah moments.
Wow.
Oilers, Cowboys, anyone?
Yeah.
And I do not, and I gotta throw this guy under the bus again.
Oh, Lord.
I do not wish anyone to live with 3 sets of people. And Victor and I talked about this yesterday.
3 sets of people.
Don't ever live with a Cowboy fan. Don't ever live with a Cub fan. And for God's sakes, don't ever live with a bronzexual.
Because that's right, LeBron. It is you.
It is you. It has always been you. It always will be you. And always remember, and I want you to cut this. This Cubdom experience is brought to you by Nurse Namastasia's Northside Incense. For when you have the blues from watching the Cubs lose, trust in Nurse Namastasia's Northside Incense.
Woosah.
I'm going to let you read this one.
Oh, Lord. This Cubdom experience is brought to you by Daddy Joe's Rawhide Belts. For when you need to chop somebody's hide raw, trust in Daddy Joe's Rawhide Belts.
Why is the theme from Rawhide in my head right now?
Hit 'em up, hit 'em up, hit 'em up,
Hit 'em up, hit 'em up.
Rawhide. Line 'em up, rawhide.
Yeah! I hated my mother for watching that show all the time because that song got stuck in my head.
Your mother and my father.
There's your Cubdom experience for the week. Thank God.
He said, never live with a Cowboy fan, a Cub fan, and a bronzesexual. I don't know
And,
where
unfor-
we actually.
and unfortunately, living with that MFer, for some crazy reason, I had all three.
How in the world we had to fit a bronzesexual into this?
In answer to your question, it fits.
Oh, it definitely fits. Oh, no question. It definitely fits.
When you hear that, it's time for some football talk with the one, the only Sam Shady. Good morning, Sam.
Good morning, fellas. How's it going?
It's going well, Sam. How are you, man?
Doing well. Thank you for asking. Thank you for having me, as always.
How about those defenders?
Man, they are looking pretty good. I'm actually kind of surprised that they even dropped a game so far.
So am I. So am I. What has set them apart this year?
If I have to be honest, the way they built their roster has been unbelievable. The marriage between the talent they have on the roster and the schemes they wanted to run is perfection. NFL teams could quite frankly take lessons from the job that they've done building this roster because it
Yes,
truly
sir.
was a partnership between Von Hutchins, the director of player personnel, and Reggie Barlow, the head coach. I mean, you see it on the field.
Mhm.
These players just fit their system so well. It's unbelievable.
I'm like you. I'm surprised that DC dropped a game. It was the highest scoring game of the season in Orlando. You and I talked about that game and how DC was supposed to run them over. Let's go to what's gotten into them. What's gotten into the Guardians?
Well, to be quite frank, I think it's the performance of Quentin Dormady. I mean, for 3 games there up until this last weekend, he was playing lights out, over 72% completion rate. I think he had a 3-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio, plenty of yardage. I think it was over 900 yards in like 4 games. So, I mean, he was playing really well. He fell off a little bit this past weekend, but that game against the Defenders was probably his best game all season long. I think he had 6 touchdowns in that game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. 6 touchdowns for Quentin Dormady against a defense that really doesn't give up that many points, let alone that many touchdowns. And Dormany took him to school and tore him apart.
100%. He's done a really good job of finding the, I don't want to say the open receiver, but he's finding the open lanes. He's doing a really good job of avoiding the double coverage, making the right decision, putting his team in good positions. Unfortunately, it hasn't really panned out in the win department up until that DC game, but I think Quentin Dormady is doing himself a lot of favors for his NFL interest, especially the way he handled the scandal situation. The fact that he was able to not only come back to the league, but to the same team and start and play as well as he did is, again, just something that I found unbelievable. It just shows you the mental fortitude that this guy has.
We'll get to the schedule in just a moment for week 9 in the XFL, but we're going to jump ahead a little bit. The XFL championship will be played in Texas at San Antonio's Alamo Dome. Can they fill the house? That is my first question. Can they fill the house in San Antonio for the XFL championship?
This will be interesting to see because I don't know how many San Antonio fans are going to show up if the Brahmas aren't in that championship game. I mean, I
Right.
still expect, if we see a Houston in the game or an Arlington, I still expect a lot of Texas fans there. Obviously, it's not like you
Mhm.
can't drive there, but
Right.
um, it'll be very interesting to see. It'll be very interesting to see if San Antonio supports this championship game like they have their team all season, and we see 18 to 20,000 fans. That's
Yeah.
a win for the XFL, in my opinion. I mean, that's exactly what they could have hoped for, especially because their viewership numbers over the past couple weekends have peaked. So
Yes.
they're right where they wanted to be at this point in the season.
So what made them choose? What made the XFL choose San Antonio as the championship site over, say, maybe the TWA Dome in St. Louis?
You know, that's a really good question because personally, if it's me, I'm putting that championship in St. Ouis. We know
Same
how
here.
excited those fans are. They've led the league in attendance and by a long shot. I think they had an 8,000 advantage over San Antonio's best game. So
Mm-hmm.
at that point, I really don't know the answer. My best guess would be that that's, where that's the team and the city that The Rock is kind of claiming as his own, because the Brahmas and all that. So I think that would be a little bit of the motivation. And then also it's the second biggest fan base from any market they have so far. So I think that's a big reason why they go there as well.
And
Yeah.
possibly the weather too, considering that in the spring it's pretty comfortable in Texas and
True.
not so much in the Midwest.
True. But you got a dome in
100%.
St. Louis. But you got a dome in St. Louis, though. I'm thinking in terms of the. I'm thinking in terms of the I'm thinking in terms of the numbers.
Oh no,
And
don't get it twisted. St.
Right.
Louis, they'd pack it. I'm just talking about for the fan experience outside of the game.
Gotcha. And you got a point. We're inundated with football talk with Sam Shady this morning. Let's get to the schedule, and then there's a few other things we need to touch on. We go to Houston to start things off at 12:30 on ABC. It's the Vegas Vipers and the Houston Roughnecks, who have fallen on some hard times, and yet they're still leading the South Division. Explain that one.
Quite honestly, they got off to a really hot start, and the South Division is trash, as Cole would say.
I will not
Another
be
way
able
to
to live
describe it.
that down. Goodness.
No, you
I'm
won't.
sorry.
because you
It's
start-
such
you
a good
started it.
segment.
Trays, 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 trays.
And now the Roughnecks.
And I agree with your assessment, by the way, Sam. I think the Roughnecks lately have been trash.
Mm-hmm. I agree with it. I agree with that also.
It's
But-
not just the Roughnecks; it's the whole South Division.
It's the whole South
honestly,
Division.
they're terrible. They're just terrible.
The North Division is more competitive than the South, but we're looking at Vegas and Houston. I hate to say this about the Roughnecks. I hate to say this about Houston, but this is a trap game considering Vegas has some things to shoot for.
Absolutely. I mean, for people to say that this game is meaningless to Vegas, don't understand how these coaches take pride in their jobs, because Rod Woodson is super disappointed with how his season's gone in Vegas. This is not how he wanted his first opportunity as a head coach to go. No coach wanted that. So with that being said, he's playing for pride at this point, and he's a very prideful person. Basically, all these former athletes turned coaches are, and coaches in general. You have to be an athlete or be involved in sports in general, because that's really all you're playing for at the end of the day is pride.
Yeah.
And with that being said, Rod Woodson is going to do everything he can in his power to have his team prepared to play spoiler this weekend for Houston. If they lose this game, they lose that stranglehold on first place that they've had. There is a huge window for those other South teams to jump up and leapfrog into that first position, which could be huge. If you get a home game in the playoffs versus having to travel to Houston and play the best team in the South in Houston, you have a little bit more advantage and a little bit more better chances of making it to the championship game.
Chris Dietz joins us in the chat, and per our question about why the game's in San Antonio, he says The Rock. There's no other reason. Well, what's the team name? The Brahmas. Plus, he also adds, plus San Antonio has nothing else. The XFL championship game comes up against the St. Louis Cardinals game in St. Louis. That's a no-brainer. The Cardinals game wins out every time. Very good point, because they basically always sell out Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Let's look at the other games on the schedule. Speaking of San Antonio, we go down to San Antonio for a 7 o'clock game. That is that a 12:30 game? Let me read this right. That's a 12:30 game in Houston. Orlando and San Antonio at 7 o'clock. Major difference in the time in the games here. What do you see in this one?
I think, first of all, this was very creative scheduling by the XFL. They were trying to avoid as much overlap with the USFL in week 1 as they could, because they knew that the USFL was going to have hype coming back into season 2. So you don't really necessarily want to go to head with those guys at all if you could avoid it, quite frankly. I mean, there's enough space for everybody to survive here. But as far as the game, Orlando comes into this game reeling after a terrible performance by Quentin Dormady. Meanwhile, San Antonio, they've had a lot of struggles at quarterback of themselves. So this is probably one of the toughest games of the weekend to really analyze. But if I have to pick a team, I'm picking San Antonio. Personally, I've lost all faith in Orlando. I really thought Quentin Dormady was the man, and now he's come back down to earth. So I think it's time that I jump off the Orlando's fan boat there, and I'm basically just gonna roll with San Antonio, who has looked more promising than Orlando at times.
To the Sunday games, and we start in DC with the league leading Defenders with a noon kickoff against the Arlington Renegades. I don't want to keep mentioning trap game, but this is one of them for DC since they lost in Orlando, and that was a trap game that you and I had talked about, Sam. This is another one for DC since they're rolling along again.
Absolutely, it is. We've talked about it on my channel and my show that we do spring football reports recently, but we personally believe that this game is going to be an absolute blowout. I really think that DC is going to come into this game. They don't necessarily have something to prove, but they want people to know that they are the best team in the XFL. And I think there's a good chance that we see all 3 quarterbacks play in this game due to the fact that they're so far ahead in the North if they win this game. So I personally think that this is going to be DC Defenders win. Yes, it's a trap game, but they've come prepared all season long. It took the best performance by basically any quarterback in the league to beat them. And I don't know that performance will be repeated anytime soon.
That game is at noon, and then to finish off the Week 9 schedule, Seattle and Ben DiNucci go to St. Louis to take on the Battlehawks, and about 40,000 Battlehawk maniacs will be there, and I say that in love. They're going to blow the roof off the joint with St. Louis and Seattle battling for a playoff spot in the North Division. How do you see this one?
One more real quick note about DC that I forgot to mention is it sounds like it's going to be a sellout. Nearly 18,000 fans will be there for DC to clinch the North Division. So that's another advantage that they've got going into that game. As far as the last game of the weekend, I think St. Louis and Seattle might be the game of the week. Both of these teams need this game if they want to leapfrog the other into the playoff seeding. So for either one of these teams, this is basically their first playoff game of the season. They have to win this game if they want to make it further. So in my mind, this is probably going to be one of the most hard-fought games of the weekend. It's going to be one of the closest matched games of the weekend, other than the quarterback situation in St. Louis, which I am getting slightly alarmed by. AJ McCarron's hurt. Nick Tiano's done for the season. Their third-string quarterback previously was Manny Wilkins, who hasn't played in a couple seasons. And then they just brought in Vinny Testaverde Jr. from the Albany Empire. He was also with the CFL team earlier this season. So that position's looking a little shaky. If AJ McCarron can't go, I got to give the edge to Seattle. If McCarron's there, I got to go with St. Louis. So it's kind of a toss-up, but basically, if you're a betting guy, it all hedges on AJ McCarron in this game.
That's a 3:00 start Eastern time in St. Louis. And now, to borrow from my partner, The part of the show you've been waiting on and waiting for. The USFL returns tomorrow. And we start at 4:30 in Memphis, Tennessee, Liberty Stadium. And wouldn't you know it, the Philadelphia Stars and the Memphis Showboats. Talk to me.
All right. Well, obviously, I'm working on a preview article basically as we speak about this game. So I've done a lot of research about this. I personally think this is going to be a lot closer game than a lot of people are going to expect. Because if you look at the Showboats and what they did last season as the Bandits, they were not very good. The thing is, a lot has changed since then. One of the biggest things that was their struggle last year was trying to find a run game. Jordan Teamu led the team in rushing attempts and yardage, or not attempts, yardage, I'm sorry, and touchdowns. So that was a big deal because you can't have your quarterback carrying your offense to that manner. I mean, with Teamu's rushing yards removed, the Bandits last season produced only 574 rushing yards on the season as a team. So they went out, revamped that entire running back room. They brought in former 5th-round pick Alex Collins. They got David Ham, a guy who spent some time with the Raiders a while back. And then they also got Justin Stockton, an alternative football league veteran. So I really think that backfield is going to be a lot better, which is going to free up a lot more passing lanes. And we might actually see a pretty decent passing attack and balanced offense that we did not see last season in Todd Haley and Jordan Teamu. With Brady White, the Memphis quarterback, at the helm, which, again, that's something you can't discount here. You talk about home field advantage. Brady White was the starting quarterback for Memphis for 3 seasons in the stadium that the Memphis Showboats play in. So I expect fans to show up. In the past, they've averaged about 13,000 fans for other alternative football leagues. I wouldn't be shocked to see that closer to the 15,000 mark in this game.
Wouldn't be surprised at that either. That's a 4:30 kickoff.
I do still think.
Go ahead, Sam.
Sorry, go ahead.
That's a 4:30
I was just going
kickoff.
to say, I do still think the Stars take this game.
That's a 4:30 kickoff on Fox. And then at 7:30, the New Jersey Generals and the Birmingham Stallions, also on Fox and the Fox Sports Go app. And this is in Birmingham, Alabama. The champs take the field against New Jersey. Well, the champs couldn't be stopped all season long last year. They only lost once on their way to the title. How do you see this one playing out for Birmingham and New Jersey?
Well, I talked about the game of the week for the XFL. This is the game of the week for the USFL. You can't ask for a better matchup. You got the literal best team in the North and the literal best team in the South from last season. And again, a lot of things have changed, but both of these teams, in my opinion, have gotten better. So this is going to be a really good game. Ultimately, I think Birmingham pulls this one out. I'm a huge DeMar Smith fan. I think DeAndre Johnson on the other side is a little bit too much of an unknown for me to bank on him yet. I know he's a great quarterback. I know he's going to play well. I just don't know exactly how that offense is going to go without Luis Perez to kind of balance out that passing attack. If Johnson comes out firing, this could quickly be turned into a Generals win, but I am leaning Birmingham for sure.
This could possibly turn into a track meet. That's a 7:30 kickoff in Birmingham, Alabama at Protective Stadium. We go back to Memphis for Sunday's noon kickoff. The Michigan Panthers and the Houston Gamblers. Have either of these teams improved from last year?
Yes, absolutely. The Michigan Panthers have gotten much better. I'm a big fan of a lot of moves they made this offseason. In fact, their quarterback situation, in my opinion, is better than it was last year. They went out and got Carson Strong. They've got a really capable backup in Josh Love. And then behind him, they have Eric Barriere, who I think is one of the most electric quarterbacks in the league. He just isn't quite ready to step on the field as a starter yet. I expect him to get mixed in. It's kind of like a run threat at times. He can also play some wide receivers, so we might see him used in other packages. Excuse me. But basically, in this game, I would probably expect Michigan to walk all over Houston. I do not like that Houston didn't try to address their quarterback position. I think Kenji Bahar is solid, but you should have brought somebody in as competition. I don't think Montel Cozart was enough of a move to move the needle for me. So yeah, I definitely see Michigan coming out with a victory in this one.
And last but not least, a 6:30 kickoff in Birmingham. The Pittsburgh Maulers, who have changed their colors to fit the rest of the city, take on the New Orleans Breakers. Any improvements with these two teams?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you want to look for notable names playing in the USFL, look no further than the Maulers, who signed Reuben Foster, former San Francisco 49ers first-round pick.
Yes.
No,
Yes.
He's trying to relaunch his NFL career. He asked on Twitter, actually, if he should consider this USFL offer that he got, and the fan outcry telling him that he should go play was amazing, and that's a big reason we'd see him in the league. But I'm very interested to see how he plays, especially in that Ray Horton, Jaron Horton defense. And then on top of that, their quarterback situation. They brought in James Morgan, former fourth-round pick of the Jets a couple years ago. Their running back situation, that's improved. There's a lot to like about this Maulers team, especially because they were very, very heavy on competition. So I think the guys that are there, they earned their right to be there, and I think the Maulers are going to be a lot better team this season. It's going to be interesting to watch them, personally.
That's our lineup in spring football this weekend. Both leagues are active, and if you want the best in the spring, you want the best in spring football coverage, look no further than Sam Shady of the Shady Sports Report, and check out the spring football report each and every week, and we have him here each and every Friday. Thank you, Sam. Love you, brother. We'll do it next Friday.
Absolutely. Sounds good. Have a great weekend, guys.
And now batting, the man who is sick to his stomach that the Twins scored on his team 9 runs in the first inning. Number 420, Wise El Jefe. Number 420.
I didn't even know they scored that many runs. I was on grandpa duty, so I didn't really know. Thanks.
Well, that will circumvent everything.
Yeah. No, again,
how is the little one?
How's Bryson?
Bryson, say hi.
Hi.
Oh, there you go. Well, there you go.
What's up, little man?
What's up, Bryson? Wait a minute. Where'd the hair go?
It's braided.
Oh, it's braided. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Bryson, what are you munching on down there?
But you tell him what you show him the candy.
You right though, Wise. That your little man's ready for the mic already.
Oh, he's
meant for this. He's gonna end up.
He's
doing
a natural. From exploring what goes on when the light is on.
Mm-hmm.
He knows what this is already. Everything. What's this, Bryson? What's this?
Microphone. He's ready.
Oh man.
What's that right there?
Yeah, bro.
Camera.
Yeah, bro.
Good job, Bryson.
You got a future broadcaster on your hands, Wise.
Oh yeah. Cultivate that. Cultivate that.
This is awesome, man.
I love it. I love it. Now, I got a question for Victor in the chat before we go to hour 2. Victor, what made you come up with the? Wait a minute, I shouldn't ask this in a grandchild's presence. I'll chance it. What made you, Victor? What made you come up with Bizarro Wise? Where did that one come from? Or Lawman Wise? There you go.
No, he came up with both. It probably because of things such as this.
And Lauren Harvey is for the streets, just so y'all know.
And Lauren Harvey is for the streets.
She's for the streets. She's for the streets, my guys.
Oh my gosh. Also, mentalities for the streets, but not in that vernacular. But you also want to hear our guys call Jason Whitlock a fat. You also want him to curse out a whole city multiple times. Join us on Mentality on the Covenant Media and Realize TV YouTube channels. And you can always catch the television replay of Mentality Thursdays, 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central on the BS3 network via Roku TV. And we thank you for your support. Remember, Bizarre Wise is only on Mentality.
And beginning Monday, Mentality will be played 5 nights a week on the Snowman Multimedia YouTube channel and the Snowman Multimedia Radio Sports Radio Network. That will begin on Monday.
Thank
you. So we have that many shows already.
Well, trust me, because with what I got planned, yes.
Yeah, we got 12 now.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So there's a good rotation. Speaking of rotation, it's a minute after the second hour, and hour 2 begins right about now. Time for hour 2 of this spectacular. Ryan McCoffey now joins us this morning.
That's what you need to do to beat Josh Allen. You need to make him uncomfortable.
Hour 2, time for some Spivey notes. And here's Jay.
Well, I know he's only in his 3rd year, but they're just wasting Justin Herbert.
Hour 2,
the hardest working content creator I know, the playmaker.
Hey, LeBron James, the greatest scorer of all time. Hey.
Hour 2,
the one, the only Christopher Dietz.
They rewarded Ohio State for not playing, and they punished USC for playing.
Hour 2, Sam Shady.
Oh, man. It's been a roller coaster ride if you were a Philadelphia Stars fan.
Hour 2, that's Big Ben, the man in charge of the BS3 network.
And if I see Kurt 2 Chainz Cousins out.
Hour 2, Chris Bay's joining us.
Oh my God! Oh, this game! Oh, way to go, Sammy!
Hour 2,
YSL.
Oh man, I thought I missed it.
What in the all types of blue hell?
Time for hour 2 of this spectacular, and it starts right now. I will never forget. I will never forget when you flashed that picture and Wise just turning away, going, "Oh man, I thought I missed.
Oh, man, I thought I missed it."
The way you put that together was genius.
Thank you.
To close out that intro with Wise going, "Oh man, I thought I missed it," and then Bass following it up. Your brain was really working when you put that together.
That's the genius of Cole Johnson.
It is.
Thank you, sir.
Especially when it ends with,
"What in the all types of blue hell?"
Definitely.
I was like, yeah, that had to fit that in there. It just fits.
It doesn't it?
It just fits.
Doesn't it?
Oh, Vic, go ahead. Yeah, it does work. Oh, Victor came up with a formal answer to your question. He says, when Wise is on Snowman in the morning, he's very composed. He enforces the rules. He's the conscience. But when he is on Mentality, he cuts loose, and he's completely different from how he is here. See the Dave Portnoy episode.
But Dave Portnoy deserved it.
You mean when I just go ahead.
I looked at that Dave Portnoy episode, and I have not stopped laughing.
Oh, you mean Vic? When I asked him the question, why does he want that smoke? And the very first words out of his mouth was, "Okay, first of all, F Boston." What even addressed Dave Portnoy? That was the first words that came out of his mouth when I asked that question.
Wait a minute. How did I miss that? The first words out of your mouth.
Yeah, it's like what? Why does Dave Portnoy want all that smoke? So
he got a Celtic jersey on.
That is okay. That's the part I missed. That's the part I missed.
He's a Bostonian V of suburbs.
Yeah, he's outside. He's like 15 miles.
He's not a city boy. Is that what I'm being told here?
Well, do you really think Boston's a city though? Like,
see, so I'm introducing Dave Portnoy. The very first words out of him, so after I said, why does he
Boston.
want all that smoke? He goes, first of all, F Boston. I'm like, we're not even talking about Boston. I know he's from the area, but what are you talking about Boston? We're talking about Dave Portnoy. But then he went off on him too.
First of all, to answer your question, this is Wise we're talking about.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, and then what makes it even funnier. So of course, for those who are on the uninitiated for mentality, at the end of each episode, we have like a wisdom post type of
oh boy.
Any
Well,
conclusion,
final
thoughts
thoughts,
from the
yeah,
throne.
whatever. Yeah,
Yeah. It's sort of final thoughts ish.
Final thoughts. Mm-hmm.
And so last week, Wise, of course, being the Knicks lover that he is,
yes,
he celebrated the Knicks being in the playoff. Had to slide in. He had to slide in the fact the Knicks beat the Celtics 3 out of 4 this year, and after that, he dropped another F Boston. I'm like, jeez.
I was laughing when he dropped the first one in terms of the Red Sox.
Oh gosh, it's
when
hilarious.
the season began.
The most hilarious one though was after another thoughts from the throne when he's taking a woman to task for saying if a woman makes $1,000, a man makes $1,000 a week.
I remember that.
Broke.
That's the one that got me. And Wise, brilliant thoughts from the throne.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful.
Yeah, this chick really seriously said, if you make $1,000 a week, you're broke. And I'm like, that's almost every man in this damn country. Like,
right?
There's not many people who making more than $1,000 a week.
No.
Some not even making that.
And this is,
and I'll put it in perspective. I'm barely making that now, and I just got a promotion. So there you go. But
I'll put it even better perspective. I am completely disabled, not able to bring in anything. ... Yet, and my wife said, "Look, let me carry this for a while. You just build this."
So I'm hooked. Listening to all this, I'm thinking, okay, this is some fire stuff. And I'm thinking. And then he goes, and that's our thoughts of this week.
And by the way,
F Boston.
Boston.
I'm like,
I think I might finish every show that way now. I don't know. I'm debating it.
Wise, finish it that way.
I'm like, every
because
single
it's
time
now
he gets the opportunity.
Think about it, Cole. It's now become his signature.
Well, yeah.
Mentality. It's become his signature.
Well,
so you're just gonna have to have that button ready.
Which makes sense because the last 3 weeks he's worn the Yankee fitted. So yeah, it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of fitted,
yes,
the Maverick. You were
seriously another one.
We now welcome the owner, manipulator, and the operator of the BS3 network, Benjamin Sudduth.
Lucky we on radio because I'm not gonna curse, but the way you be coming up with these things.
Friday.
Happy Friday to you,
Ben.
Appreciate
the new intro.
Let me explain this as best as I can. And this is from coming to know Cole the past 7 years. And I've gotten to know Cole since my days in LaPorte, Indiana. Cole doesn't have a brain. He has a computer fishing around in that head. For wherever he comes up with an idea and he goes off camera, he's cooking something. I now believe what Victor told me. Every time either Cole was late or he goes off camera, he's cooking something. And he cooked up that. Speaking of cooking, as I began to lead in before Cole decided to hit us with that bomb, and I got in trouble on Facebook for saying drop those bombs and drop that knowledge on a sports post. I'll unleash about that later.
Oh Lord!
Wow.
Yeah, I'll unleash about that later.
Oh, so speaking of bombs, the Mavericks.
Yes.
Yeah, perfect segue.
I mean, Mark Cuban took the bait, bit it, and now is bleeding. And the Mavericks went from the 5th seed with virtually the same team minus Jalen Brunson that went to the, say it with me, Western Conference Finals.
Brother, It's the first team in history that had a 96% chance of making the playoffs, right? This is before the trade deadline.
Before the trade.
Yep,
February.
before the trade deadline.
96% chance of making the playoffs and end up not making the playoffs.
Not making the playoffs.
Not even making the play-in.
Sad. Not even making the play-in. They gave you a couple more spots and you couldn't make that.
No.
But to be honest, they tanked. Like, let's just be real. They were not trying to win games.
They were not.
The last game of the season, they set 5 starters or 5 players. So that's really what it was. They knew either way they wasn't going to have a shot. I don't think in the West, regardless. I think we actually did miss Dorian Finney-Smith, which was included in that trade. He was kind of a defensive player that we really didn't replace. So,
yep.
You know, if you can't play defense, you're not going to go as far in this league. You know, historically, a lot of the teams that have won a championship are good offense and defense, and we're heavy on offense, but defense, we couldn't stop anybody.
You know, someone said that. Actually, I think it was Stephen A. Smith who said, you know, people are blaming Kyrie for the downfall of the Mavericks this year. It's not his fault. I'm like, yes, it is his fault.
Yes, it is.
If he didn't demand to be gone out of the shadow realm, the Brooklyn Nets.
Listen. I gotta give Brooklyn props. They got rid of both of the headaches that they had. Now
smart.
They need to get rid of Ben Simmons. Now they just need to get rid of Ben Simmons and keep playing with the young guys they got, because they have some great pieces.
Wise. I actually think the Nets were actually thinking for once in making deals, but he goes out of the shadow realm and demanding a trade. You decide to take him on, and you give the Nets those pieces that helped you get to the Western Conference Finals, save for Jalen Brunson. Because they
gave it to him.
They just gave him away to the Knicks.
They gave him away for a song. And thank you, Victor, for that Shadow Realm comment.
Yes, thank you, Victor. Because I'm gonna use that ad nauseum about.
I'm gonna use it also.
They took a risk and it was no reward. Yeah, it backfired. Yeah.
Ooh, it backfired.
They took a risk and it backfired badly. Okay, now, you know, I got to know something. When Victor's comment of the Shadow Realm hit me and hit us, it got me thinking, what are some Shadow Realms in other sports? What are some Shadow Realms?
How I knew he was gonna go after Dallas.
because it's too easy.
Wait.
Because it's too easy.
I didn't go after the boys. I didn't go after Dakota. I didn't go after the fan base. I went after Gerald's mind.
Okay.
Listen, no, I'm going after Dakota after what happened last year. Anyway, is AT&T Stadium the NFL's version of the Shadow Realm? And this is Victor's suggestion because of the mediocrity that goes on.
Okay. Wait, Ben. Why do you say yes, man?
I mean, because it's average. We go in the season one way and we end the season in the shadows, because we obviously not in the playoffs. We obviously not in the conference championship game. So yeah.
Well, I'll put it this way. You now. Since Dak was making it in vogue for quarterbacks to throw red zone interceptions last year, you now can get Ben DiNucci back on the team, because in the XFL this year he's starting to throw red zone
interceptions.
They can keep DiNucci.
He ain't having DiNucci.
Get back.
I'd rather have Jason Garrett's cousin, Cooper Rush, or nephew, I guess you can say.
Oh, ouch!
Wow!
Ouch!
Ooh, you were loaded for bed this morning about the
Jason
Cowboys.
Garrett's cousin.
All right,
Cooper Rush.
Okay, I'll
which we know, and we know Cooper Rush ain't it for the Cowboys.
Okay, so all right,
We know Cooper Rush ain't it.
Yeah. All right,
Yeah.
so we'll jump back in the NFL in a second, but I'm going to be positive.
No, you're not.
Other than the Stars making the playoffs, we know that right now that's all that the Metroplex is hanging on towards a hope when it comes to professional sports realm.
Yep.
How happy are you that the Maverick season is over?
Yeah, I'm happy.
That's what I thought.
I think obviously Luka was stating that they wanted to make it to the playoffs and if they had a shot. But I don't see it equaling what happened last year. I think you got lucky. Honestly, they were the Hawks that went to the conference finals that year. That's pretty much what they were.
Yeah,
they
appeared with the Hawks
overexceeded.
the year before, right?
Right. They overexceeded expectations. This year, I didn't see that happening. So
let me borrow.
They definitely they got the draft pick that they should have. They're gonna have to work in some free agency, but they're gonna have to build a team. You can't just have Luka and Kyrie and just expect everything to just fall in line. That's not how the NBA works anymore.
Let me.
And that's what boggled my mind. That last sentence.
Let me borrow from a movie that the Forecast reviewed in recent times. It's called Harlem Nights. Red Fox had one of the lines of the movie.
Yes, he did.
And you know the line I'm speaking.
I know the line. I know
where I'm. You know where I'm going.
Yes,
in
sir.
response to Lucas saying we got a shot to making the playoffs, for the late great Red Fox. We got a shot.
Bitch, please.
Not that one, but it's this one. We got a shot. It is ace.
Yeah, that too. That line too.
Ben, I also want to say, hold on, Ben. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Wise.
No, I want to tell Ben it was a great pregame yesterday with him and Doc, man.
Oh yeah, the Stars, the Blue Stars, that was good.
Yes,
you
appreciate that. Appreciate that. So we're good segue to something positive in the Metroplex, but the playoffs should be starting Monday.
Right.
Should have a game Monday and Wednesday. We're going to try to be there, try to do the same thing. But I'll say this, man, it has been an amazing experience to cover the Stars. They're definitely a team with, they were talking last night that they got the young talent, they got the kind of the middle talent, and then they got people kind of on their way out. So it's a pretty well built team organization. So yeah, definitely looking forward to these playoffs.
All right, seriously,
it's the best time of the year. The Stanley Cup playoffs. We have some answers to a question of what Shadow Realm should be in other sports.
Yeah,
we all said Dallas.
Pizzle said the Browns.
Pizzle threw us this,
and then
Fifth Sports says this.
The city in general, not even.
If my buddy Josh Lopez from Chicago was here, he'd say blow up Cleveland and turn it into a parking lot.
Yeah.
And then there's this response: Browns, cadavers, engines.
Yeah, that was Chris
Cleveland in general. Even Cleveland State, and I covered a game at Cleveland State.
The college. Wow.
I'll explain why. It took forever for me to get to Cleveland, and it took me forever to get the hell out of Cleveland.
You can throw the Texans in there too.
Yeah.
Yes, you can. Yes,
you can.
Throw all of them in the.
I got a funny story about Cleveland. I was working at Cedar Point in 2005, and I was going home to Chicago to cover a game. I didn't have any wheels, so I took the Greyhound. Fly into Cleveland. Rolling to Cleveland. I'm ready to jump off the bus, grab something to eat because I'm hungry, I'm grumpy, and I'm ready to finish the trip. I go in there and there's nothing.
That sucks.
Nothing.
No peanuts. No.
So they
and ing.
So they're acting like a cheap HPC. No. I'm not gonna go there.
Yeah, you finish it. Finish that sentence.
So they were acting like a cheap HBCU.
A very cheap HBCU. And I've seen my share of them. There was nothing. I see all the concession stands from the window, and I'm ready to fly in and grab like 6 or 7 things that'll hold me over till I get to Chicago. No, nothing. And that was partially my experience going to Cleveland State.
Oh, wow.
I thought I'd have a press table full of food so I can fuel up to get through the next couple of hours.
Right.
They had nothing.
And speaking of that type of appetite and getting nothing for a result, who do you have the Cowboys drafting in 2 weeks?
The offseason.
Well, I'll say this.
I'll echo Cole's prediction from the last 2 years. The offseason. Damn it.
There's a couple of options. Obviously, if Bijan ends up dropping that far, I don't think he will.
No, I don't think
he will either.
I don't think he will either. But if he's there, they will definitely grab him.
You
If
gotta
not,
grab him if
it's
he
going to be
drops
an
that far.
offensive lineman.
Who's in charge of the draft for the
defense.
Cowboys?
So
Is
Will
it Steven?
McClay. Will McClay.
He ain't grabbing. Okay, I just answered my own question with the name of the team. Who's drafting?
Will McClay.
And the Cowboys.
And Steven. Now, Jerry probably has the last absolute
I'm about to say Gerard
And
has the final say probably.
And
but
in 4 words, I rest my case.
and Victor, who is in solidarity with you, Ben, he says it's lineman or nothing.
Yeah, you can't roll Tyron Smith out there again and expect him to last an entire season. It's not gonna happen.
Again.
That's what I thought, Chris. Yeah, Stephen Jones. That's what I thought. Yeah. But
we need to stop. We need to stop thinking that Tyron Smith is at all healthy. He will never be healthy again. Let's stop fooling ourselves. And he got injured during training camp last year. Which
Ever.
I hate to say it, but it may happen again this year. So you got to have a deep offensive line.
That offensive got to be deeper. Yes,
Yeah,
I agree.
Work on that defense. And running back, I'm not that concerned about. I think Tony Pollard and whoever we draft at some point in the draft, or if we pick somebody up. But there's a lot of weird storylines saying Dalvin Cook to the Cowboys. That's not going to happen. They learned their lesson with Zeke. Derrick Henry.
I like Dalvin Cook.
I do
Don't
too.
get me wrong. I like Dalvin Cook, but no.
Signing running backs to second contracts.
Yeah,
clearly
you're
we know
asking
that's not
for
a good idea. Yeah,
you're asking for it. And
unless your name is Roger Craig, no, thank you.
Or Adrian Peterson,
or Adrian Peterson.
And you've just experienced this with the running back you just let go in Zeke Elliott. So I don't think they want to put themselves in the same position of signing another running back to a second contract yet.
It's like you said in the opening, Cole. Are you really surprised that the Cowboys are giving up on Ezekiel Elliott? Are you surprised? And I'll couple that with this question: are you surprised that the Cowboys are going to screw up the draft again?
Oh wow!
I know we're 2 weeks. I know we're 2 weeks away.
I want to answer that. I will let the Dallas fans address that.
Hold on. We have not had horrible drafts. Now, we got CD 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And what has he done?
He's a 1A. He's a 1B. He's a 1B.
Yeah, but he solidified himself as if you got a really good stud wide receiver, he'd be a good number 2. So he is
now lower draft picks. I would definitely say we got an issue there, especially the second round. That second round pick seems to be hit or miss.
Yeah,
but in all seriousness, who were they selecting?
But to be fair, the best draft they've had in the last I don't know how many years is the best player in the team, and Micah Parsons.
Yeah,
I mean they got to build their team around him. He's that talented of a player. So I agree with Ben. It's not that they have been all misses with drafts. It's just they've been hit or miss, mostly with the bottom end of the draft. The lower rounds of the draft. Yeah,
I saw the title of the video: "Hit, Miss, or Meh." That's about the way you can describe the Cowboys draft in recent years. And the biggest hit, as you said, Cole, has been Micah Parsons. Biggest hit has been Micah Parsons.
I mean,
so where do they go? Where do they go? Who along the line, the offensive line, should the Cowboys take?
Yeah,
and I capitalize the word "should" for obvious reasons.
Yeah, I would tackle or guard. I think it's where you got to look at, because, like I said, if they were talking about Tyron Smith playing right tackle and Tyler Smith playing left tackle. But again, you can't depend on Tyron. And the guard position, I think, has been a little shaky. We had one of our guys got injured at the end of last year, so we just need depth. That's the biggest thing.
Yes,
we don't necessarily need this guy to come in. I don't think he needs to start day one, but he needs to be ready to start by probably week 6, by whatever time Tyron Smith is going to be out.
You're already not penciling. You're already pinning him to be out. Wow.
He will be. Mark my words. By week 6, I'm gonna be on this show.
Week 6.
And I'm gonna be saying Tyron Smith is out.
You're not even giving him a half a year. Wow.
I'm not giving him a half a year either.
I can't do it.
Can't do it.
I'm not giving him a half a year either.
Oh Lord, why you going Mike? Why you going Mike Singletary? Can't do it.
Can't win with him.
Can't win with him.
Can't do it. Can't do it. We'll do it live. I'm sorry.
So it's my partner channel's Bill O'Reilly.
I mean, can you actually trust that offensive? Wait, let me change my question. Can you trust whoever the hell is going to be the offensive coordinator to actually?
That will be Mike McCarthy.
No.
I know it. I know Brian Schottenheimer is the offensive coordinator in name.
I don't understand that at all. I don't know why do you have an offensive coordinator that's just the name to put on the website? If he's not the actual one calling the plays, what do you need that guy for?
I'm about to say, but Ben, you already know, just like we do, the guy who's going to be calling the plays is going to be Mike McCarthy.
It's going to be Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, they gave it to him. They said, "Hey, you ain't telling him we're seeing eye to eye. It's you now. What are you gonna do with it?" That's basically what they told him.
Victor, that's Pennywise, the dancing clown. Oh, gosh.
Okay. If you're actually going to have an offensive coordinator, God rest you, Norv Turner, why won't you let him do the offensive coordinator? Yes. Why does Mike McCarthy have to channel Jarrell?
That's hot.
We'll get it.
Take over.
Oh, why? That seat started to get a little hot.
A little hot.
It is. He can't sit down for too long. Get some toasty buns.
Oh my gosh. Look, Ben. Look, you know we can chop this up forever, but I know you have to get on and go and do your stuff. Tell the good people where they can find you, man.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, BS3 Network, all avenues of social media. BS3network.com. Check out the website, BS3 TV on Roku, BS3 TV Live if you don't have a Roku TV or device. We will have Cove Sports coming up at 2, and the one and only Poppy J and Wise coming up at 8 on the network, and Snowman in the morning every day, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9. So, yeah, appreciate you guys.
And that's the lawman Wise that you'll see on Poppy J and Wise at Hefe.
Oh yeah, Poppy J is the one that goes off on there.
I can't wait to see it. I'm hooked.
Well, we're debating if we might just actually go live today.
Go for it.
Okay.
I say do it.
Okay. Yeah, I say
go for it.
Yeah.
Well, The owner, the manipulator, and the operator of the BS3 network via Roku TV, Ben Sadata, joining us as he always does at the top of our number 2 on Friday. It is always a pleasure, brother. Love you and continue success.
Love you, man.
Great week, bro.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. Take care.
You too.
This portion of Snowman in the Morning is brought to you by the Sports Stuff Company. With our various services, we can help our client athletes in multiple ways in terms of getting an agent, one-on-one trainer, a sponsor, and more. Visit sportstuffco.com. That's sportstuffco.com. Give my man Brian Dollar Bills a call today at 866-229-0001, or give him a call locally in St. Louis at 314-833-8033. Drop him an email at thesportstuffco@mail.com. The Sports Stuff Company, more than just an agency for our professional clients. And thank you to the Sports Stuff Company for being a sponsor and an advertising partner on this program. Speaking of announcements, I'm going to hit you for that. You were cooking again.
Yes, I was.
Mr. Bills, I know you're tuning in. I hope you like that impromptu live read that was done for the Sports Stuff Company. We're going to put together a commercial for you as well as more live reads, and I'm actually going to print them out beginning Monday because I've been horribly disorganized. 5 minutes away from You Know Who appearing. Yesterday was weird for me.
Besides the fact that you overslept for like 20 hours?
21, but who's counting?
Well, yeah.
21, but who's counting?
Yeah, I had to roll.
I went to sleep. Listen, I went to sleep
yesterday.
I went to sleep at 2 a.m. I got up with Jody as she was getting ready for work. I went in the laundry room, pulled out an outfit. I laid it on the chair in my old office, and the next thing I knew, it was 3 o'clock. I was done. PM. Yes. PM. Like match game. PM.
Yep.
As we play the star-studded big money match game PM. Wait a minute. While I'm thinking about it,
with visions of Charles Nelson Riley dancing in
yes, and Brett Summers.
I always love the bass in that song, especially the
when they do the questions.
God, yeah, that bass was just awesome.
That's why I snatched it as one of my game show themes. I put in my sound bass. It's so recognized. Hey, Pizzle, thank you. What's Johnny Olsen's opening line? Get ready to match
the stars. Not Brett versus the man on the buzzer.
I remember that episode. She was trying to reveal an answer, and the guy on the buzzer kept buzzing her. And then, of course, there's the late great Gene Rayburn.
Yes,
who somehow managed all of those
wonderful
people.
Yes,
he's underrated.
I don't know how he was able to do it and still keep the show on time. No clue.
I have no clue either. All right, time to kill that.
That's right.
And time to end this show the right way. Push the button.
That's right.
And now, the transporter to Hades, the reformer of hooker whores, and the bronze god the one, the only, the legendary Chris Bay.
As we do each and every Friday, we enter the boom shakalaka with the legendary Chris Bass. Good morning, my brother. Great to have you.
Well, good morning, Rain Man. Good morning, of course, to the Mad Scientist. Good morning to Wise All. And good morning to all the boys and girls. Oh, well, thank you. All the boys and girls in the comment section there. And a good morning, boom shakalaka to all.
And a hearty boom shakalaka to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, let's turn it loose. What you got on your mind this morning, Bass? And he's rubbing his hands. He's rubbing his hands like Mr. Miyagi from the Karate Kid. He's got something cooking.
Rubbing my hands because I'm ashy and I have oil on my hands, and I know certain people of color get we get very ashy very quickly. So I do moisturize. Absolutely. So
really,
help me, gentlemen. Why do we need a NBA play-in? No, seriously.
We don't need an NBA play-in, but the NBA thinks. Yes,
I'm talking about that today on my afternoon show, but we don't need a play-in.
We don't need an NBA play-in, but the NBA felt it was befitting because they were getting that itch after the bubble championships.
Invitational.
Yeah, the COVID Invitational. They were getting that itch. You know that itch. That they were getting so addicted to tournament play. They figured, why don't we have a tournament play from the end of the regular season to the playoffs, and we can award the top 6 seeds in each conference a week off, and then that came into vogue, and then all of a sudden now they want to do a mid-season tournament.
And now you know what happened immediately after they announced that the play-in tournament would be a permanent change? They went and got sponsors for it. Dear God, people want to sponsor this frivolity.
But why do you believe and why do you surmise, sir, that there is an NBA play-in?
Well, you just said it. I just like to hear the people say it as well, so I won't think I'm as crazy as I'm usually on a daily basis. To the fact that obviously this thing that is galvanized by money, so we got that.
Yes,
cash rules everything around me.
Preach, my brother. So,
Crank it the money, dollar bill, y'all.
Exactly. So if an NBA player, say it was Kevin Garnett, this part of Kevin Garnett's workout is sponsored by New Shave because he needs to shave his head. The bald spot on top of his head is killing me. And he, as a friend of mine said, he got taco meat going in his beard too, and on the sides and everything else. It's just goddamn ridiculous.
He said taco meat.
He said taco meat.
Right. It doesn't make any sense.
No,
I know you're 6'11" or 7 feet. Nobody looking at your bald spot except when you're on the court and you have those, high end shots where they're seeing you with the bald spot, and you just going and doing your thing. I love Kevin Garnett, but you just got to get rid of it, Doc. I mean, you can do what you want to do, but that nappy taco meat is just not a good look. It really isn't. And I don't claim that. A friend of mine told me this morning. So yeah, the taco meat, yeah, that there. So going back to the whole thing with the plan, it to me it's unnecessary. What's wrong with what we had before? And again, I don't mean to be the guy, with the sandals on and the dress socks, get off my lawn, you kids, in summertime. I don't mean to be that guy, but for the love of night, there has to be a point where how much more money do you need? Of course, it's going to be, we're going to get all the money we can get. And I understand all that. But the play-in thing just doesn't make any sense to me. And I guess it never will. Yes, monetarily, I understand that. But I could take it or leave it, and more so leave it.
So you're basically saying that the playing game is as useless as Kevin Durant finding a brush is useless for his head.
Look, I'm a big fan. When I had hair, I had a Diane brush. Diane brush back in the day. When you had hair, you was in high school and college, you had to get a Diane brush. It had to hook up the waves. Now I hook up skull, but I don't even use a brush anymore. But back in the day when I did, get you a Diane brush and go for broke. Get you some sporting waves or whatever you put in your head and go for broke. So it's not like he can't be salvaged. But that big dome in the back, man, it's just it's very shiny. It's very shiny. You can see reflection of that thing.
Dome in the back.
You said it's very shiny. Oh,
it's very shiny.
The big dome in the back.
Right.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So it's just I can leave. It doesn't. I understand, but I don't really care for the playing.
Okay.
I'll watch it, but let's go straight to the playoffs like before.
So with that being said, now you live in a city where one of the teams are involved in this play-in tournament,
and they're alive.
Yes, so they're alive, and they'll play later on the night in Miami. Are you happy that the Bulls are still there, or could you still care less, considering this is a play-in game, and then of course if they win,
they
not a play-off game, and if they win, they will go through their rematch with the Bucks from last year's first round.
Mm-hmm.
I've not followed the Bulls in a long time. Billy Donovan, as the coach of the Bulls, is pretty much a glorified professional college team, and I mean that sincerely. It really, not too many coaches make the transition well from college to the pros. And see what he had back at OKC. And they were youngest team. They were very smart, but again, egos get in the way, and you have nobody wants to be Robin.
No,
everybody want to be Batman.
Everybody wants to be Batman.
You hear that, LeBron? I'm sorry, my bad. I'm so sorry.
You just have to understand your role, but you don't want the role because you want the main role. So what do? You leave that team and go somewhere else.
Can we get The Rock, please?
Oh yes, we definitely know when roles. Yes, you definitely get The Rock here because I think many need to hear the following.
You know your damn role and shut your damn mouth.
You hear that, Chicken Wing? LeBron? I'm sorry.
But you are correct, though, Base. I agree with you.
Agreed.
Right. And real quick, Billy Donovan was great in Florida. I mean, he was a fantastic college basketball coach. Got the job
back national champions. So yeah,
exactly. One Joakim Noah was a part of it. People like that.
Exactly.
So I get it. But again, when you make that leap to the pros, it's a whole different world, obviously. Which is like some of those college coaches. I'm not going near that because that means the player is the star, and I'm not the star as the coach. A lot of ego still going on as per usual. So Billy Donovan to me again it's a glorified professional college team, and whether it was at OKC or here in Chicago now with the Bulls, I was surprised they won because I was watching that game and they were losing their shirts and their assholes. Being the Bulls, 19. I thought it was over with. Right? How was it? 19 points?
19-point lead.
Look, that's somebody's age. 19 years old. I stopped watching it. And then woke up the next morning and they won. I'm like, they did? So it's
it was through a lot of it was through a lot of help of the Raptors not knowing how to hit free throws. I'm sorry, go ahead, sir.
And not knowing how to secure defense and not knowing how to secure a defensive rebound in the final 120 seconds. That also. And you mentioned something, Base, about not making a smooth transition to the professional game from the college game. I'll mention a coach that tried it with San Antonio and only lasted like 10 or 12 games. Does the name Jerry Tarkanian mean anything to you?
Oh man.
I loved him. I really did. I mean, the Shark, that was my guy.
Yes.
I mean, how can you not love a guy who's biting into a towel during the game? I mean, that's not only does this good, it shows how much of a damn fool he is, but the characteristic of the coach, he's that nervous. He got to take a towel and bite on the sideline. I loved it, man. I
I
loved
love
it.
it too.
But
That was
yeah,
one of the trademarks I loved seeing on the sidelines.
But that whole thing going to the pros, it's like this. If you have watched, and all of us probably have done, watching the original Wizard of Oz, and you see it go from black and white to color. So imagine your life in black and white. All of a sudden, the house gets on the Wicked Witch of the West. You destroy her, but you're going into a whole new universe with color. So I think with some of these coaches, that's what they experience. You're used to black and white. You're used to a comfort zone. Now you go into a comfort zone that has nothing to do with you because, again, it's not a coach-led organization. This is a players' league. So that whole mentality there, and you got to play the game. If not, you're fired.
Just a minute. How'd that go again?
You're fired.
As unfortunate as it is, he's right. I mean, there is no mentality such as Pat Riley or Billy Cunningham or Casey Jones or Bill Fitch or Phil Jackson for that matter, or Chuck Daly. You know, I'm the coach, you're the player, which explains who's best 4 years in Miami when Pat Riley marched him out of the office with those words. I run the team, you play on the team. Get the hell out of my face.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
The balance and the shift obviously has changed, but the coaching positions should be still revered.
Yes.
But at the same time, it gets to a point where, like, I don't know about you, but I've been a big fan of Nate McMillan since his playing days.
Yes.
And for him to be excommunicated from Atlanta,
that
was
sucked.
complete bullcrap.
That sucked, man. Yeah. I thought the Hawks did not give him a fair shake.
Nate McMillan was done absolutely dirty.
Yeah.
Absolutely dirty. And it's Trae Young's fault.
Yeah.
Yep.
And now
prima donna Yass's fault.
And now people are already giving Quinn Snyder, the guy who succeeded Nate McMillan, all the credit for turning the team around and getting them playoff ready. And I'm thinking, they lucked up.
At the end of the year, they got lucked up.
Yeah, in the end of the year, they lucked up, and then they lucked up again in the playing game against the Heat, where the Heat just simply, other than maybe three players, they didn't really care. Yeah, they didn't really care about playing fundamentals.
Nope, they forgot how to box. The Heat forgot how to box out.
So
the Heat forgot how to box out.
So he gets the credit, and Nate McMillan gets the shaft. But now the Heat will go on and saying, well, we had a somewhat successful year because we were the 8th seed last year with the 7th seed this year.
And it took an extra game for them to get the 7th seed, and it took Miami handing them that game on a silver platter because of no fundamentals.
Right. So yeah, it angered me to no end, man.
Yeah,
when I saw that Nate McMillan got the shaft. Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Nate McMillan was a defensive dynamo when he played. He was all about defense. Okay, and then some young Yass named Trae Young comes in, buys into McMillan's system. ... at first, but then when he saw when it was about team defense and not about him, he balked. And it's unfortunate Nate McMillan was a dead man walking. Nate McMillan was a dead man walking, and I blame Trae Young for it.
And he might not get another opportunity because of that.
Ever.
Right, which is
because he got played to the left and he got screwed royally.
Yeah.
By Trae bleeping Young.
Good call on that one, man. Good call, Chris. Because I really am royally upset by that.
Yeah, it's
Trae bleeping Young.
It doesn't make any sense because you have these really great coaches out here, and they're doing their job beyond the call of duty. And I noticed, as you probably have, a sea of younger coaches coming up, like in their mid 30s or 40s and stuff like that, so they can grow with the team. Same with football. So there's nothing wrong with that, but be committed to the coach that you hire. And so it's not like going to have all, sunshine and rainbows. There's going to be some gray skies and some thunders and some, rain. But I think what happens with certain people is that you have this microwave mentality that you want the food to be cooked quickly and not, again, the good old-fashioned oven, stove, and the love that went into all the ingredients to make certain foods work. And so that's sad when that's gone, because everybody wants instant success, and it doesn't happen instantly at times. Really, it takes time. It takes time to build.
Yeah. Okay, Cole, you need to read this out loud.
Okay. New to Bronbull, play-in date. If you're looking to waste a night in the hopes you might get an actual date, play-in dates may help. Find someone who loves you the way bronsexuals love vacay.
Cole, those last two words are your fault.
Why is it my fault?
Why is it your fault?
Yes.
You dare ask that question, considering you created the. Why is it his fault? He asks. Maybe this should answer your question.
This moment of bronsexual stupidity is brought to you by Hooked on Bronix. When you start talking like an idiotic bronsexual, Hooked on Bronix can set you right. Call 1-800-YO-KAY. Real LJPM, now approve all this.
That right there. That.
Look, I can't help it when I hear these fools go off the way they do.
And Wise can't help it. What was said? I forgot the exchange. But I know Wise, you said something and then Wise go
What kind of sound is that?
Slurping. So
are we talking about 7-Eleven Slurpees or something altogether different?
Something
unfortunately. The reformer of hoes knows what kind of Slurpee.
Oh.
Not the reformer of hoes.
Well, that's what they do best. That's what they do best. Speaking of reforming.
Yes, sir.
Speaking of reforming, not whores, but reforming. I've come to the conclusion that as brothers, not only in broadcast, but as brothers in general here on the esteemed panel that I'm always honored to be a part of, I think it's time to have an intervention with one of our colleagues, and that's a playmaker. And so I come to the conclusion that all of us need to help this brother and let him know that when you put the mic in front of your face, it's like you're hiding something or hiding from someone, and this needs to stop. And I thought about it.
That's his signature, though. That's his signature.
So you
Damn
say,
that.
so for those who are those who are unaware of our brother, this is how the motif looks.
Now, forgive me not knowing the brother. You got your mic blocked. I don't know who the hell you are. It's like you're in the broadcasting witness protection program. You know what? I feel like I feel
You a
like J.
complete
Jonah
fool.
Jameson in the Spider-Man movie where he exposed Peter Parker. So we have to expose Playmaker. So we have to see his face at least one time. So that we know he's human.
He's quite human.
Okay. All right. But
He's
still.
he's quite I understand.
He's a good brother. He's a good brother.
He's quite human.
Okay, great. But he's a great brother
gets
behind the mic. And
he gets quite foolish at times with some of his takes. Lord knows I've done that, but he's quite human.
Oh no, not you.
Not you. Me.
Oh,
Me.
not you,
I'm
not-
admitting
oh,
it. No, I'm not being sarcastic. I've gotten foolish with my takes for 28 years. All right, let me just be real.
You mean when he begged for an honor and he got this as a result? Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly it. That's part of it. That's only a part of it.
It really irked them that Victor got it. It really irked them that Victor got it, and then like I gotta get it.
You know
I gotta
what?
get mine.
It actually made me crack up laughing the first time he unveiled the name he came up with, and the way he said it. Vicala. With the extra phlegm in the throat.
Oh, disgusting.
Vicala.
It's one thing to have. It's one thing to have phlegm.
I love it.
It's one thing to have phlegm,
but have extra phlegm is come on, man. I mean, I give you phlegm, but extra. Come on, doctor.
That's how Cole said it. That's how Cole said it.
Jeez, extra phlegm.
and they love it, including Victor. I'm sorry, Vicala. I mean, I don't know.
Vicala.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vicala.
Vicala. All you need is the big horn and a mountain setting, and we got everything we need.
Vicala.
I used to hang out with a brother that did it all the time. I mean, you know, you be around people that you're supposed to be, of course, your friends. And I realized that he did these spit takes all the time. You sometimes you get used to it and you don't even think about it. And then one day you're out with with the fellas. Oh man, that girl look. We were outside, and outside the club in the line. Oh man, that girl look fine, man. That's for another. I'm like, dude, what? And it dawned on me, what? Why do you do that? Do what? He wasn't aware he was doing it, which is why I started hanging out with these people.
Oh my gosh!
Oh man, she fly, man. I go,
Oh Lord, you know what's sad though? I've been around those brothers. That's what makes it even worse and funnier.
So have I.
Look, when
Chicago was my home for 30 plus years. Been there, seen that.
You mean every guy, especially every black guy, thought he's a Mac in Chicago?
Dear God.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry.
That education began in high school for me. I mean, you could. Chris described it best. I won't try to repeat it, but it's like they get so enthralled with seeing someone that supposedly looked fine, and then they do a spit take. And you're just wondering, am I going to walk in this stuff?
Well, between that, that's an example. I mean, when you hang out with guys, you get the beer, and it's like, hey man, you got my partner. I mean, I just realized that was his thing, and you become desensitized. Until one day you look up, I'm like, dude, I just realized something. You spit damn near all the time. And the nerve to say, I do? Yes, you do. For him
to have the nerve to say that.
Right, because he's not aware of it. He just did it.
It's innate nature for him, but not for us.
Oh my God.
Look, man, when I was coming up, my dad loved jazz and blues music, and especially blues. So his top two of all time were B.B. King and Bobby Blue Bland. So I listened to it all the time in my household. So when I got hired at my first radio station, WBEE in Harvey, back then we could select our own music. So I was 22, my first professional gig. My shift started at 6 p.m. I get there at 4:30, go in the production room, get all these, we were playing albums. And I get all the albums, go through it, and we had to play at least 4 to 5 blues songs per hour. So we did that. So I figured out one night I'll play some Bobby Blue Bland. And again, the hawking became part of his singing. The hawking by itself. I would have preferred just a whole Hawk album, see how that would have worked out for him.
This is interesting. I love to ask this question considering your take. So, what is your wonderful, thoughtful opinion of pastors? And when they go all in on the message, when they bring it on home, and you know, and they go. What's your thought on that?
You mean like your character does supposedly on some Wednesdays?
Yes.
Well, I'll put it like this: nothing wrong with getting to the spirit. If you're in the spirit and that's your element you align yourself with, fine.
True. Yes.
But some of the stuff, or not all the stuff that we see with certain pastors, is a performance piece. So you have to bring it on home, especially collecting the collection plate coming up next. So you gotta perform. So if you're on the podium, which you are, and you're in the spirit, and you get the spirit. My favorite, which translates to somebody stole my Honda.
Somebody stole my
Honda. Somebody stole my Honda. Oh Lord, somebody stole my Honda. Somebody stole my Honda. I was like, wait a minute, did he just say somebody stole his Honda? There should be somebody in the parking lot checking.
Why is somebody stole my Honda?
Somebody stole my Honda.
You know what, Cole? There's a church on the south side of Chicago on 63rd Street, which actually winds up on 65th. I can confirm said pastor does that. It took one service for that confirmation.
You have to translate these things. And I was invited to a partner of mine's church. I'm sitting there like the second row, and it sounded like the brother said that the pastor said somebody stole my Honda.
Oh Lord heaven!
I just stopped going to other people's churches because I had very bad experiences. Not about somebody stealing somebody's Honda. One time I went to a friend of mine's church. It was like the 80s, and so a lot of people were getting the Holy Ghost, as they call it. So we were sitting up front. We were guests, and I had on a nice, I think about 12 at the time, and I had a nice Pierre Cardin 3-piece suit on. I was pretty fly. And so this one lady caught the spirit, caught the ghost, and she got up front, she's going back and forth. Get a Jerry curl flying about. So all this Jerry curl juice was going in the front, and then she got in between my legs. Don't ask me why. I didn't ask for this. And started shaking her hair like that and messed up my whole suit.
Lord have mercy.
Messed up my whole suit. So I'm like, I wanted to say, damn. I couldn't say damn in church. And the pastor came up to me, after, I'm sorry, brother. Sister was in the spirit. I said to myself, can sister pay this dry cleaning bill? There's nothing more nastier, no offense, than Jerry curl juice on your clothing.
Wow.
It's like blood. You can't get it out.
So your crotch basically was like the couch that we saw with the three dots of Jerry curl
coming to
juice.
America, right?
Coming to America.
If not more wet and more moist. I ain't talking about the other things either. I'm talking about Jerry curl juice.
Lord have mercy.
Disgusting.
Yes.
I didn't care if it wasn't the spirit, man. I
smelled
needed
it.
that fixed.
It smelled it and it looked disgusting. I can understand that.
One Canadian Guzman is all I have to say.
And look,
Hey,
that Derek curl was wet.
That
well, look,
yeah,
it was
like a Stephen Curry jumper. It was wet.
I went to this pool party once, and we're all having a good time.
Oh no!
And there's one guy jumped into the pool with the Jerry curl juice.
Oh no!
And we immediately got out the pool.
Of
you should have seen 15 fast Negroes getting out the pool like real quick. And when he resurfaced, there was this gray, white Jerry curl juice island that was floating on top of the pool by itself.
Did you just say 15 fat Negroes got out the pool fast?
15 fast Negroes getting out
fast.
Right. If it was 15 fat Negroes, 14 would have stayed in.
My stomach hurts now from laughing.
We gotta go. We got there quick, man. I
bet.
These words.
You don't want to be hey, you don't want to. You don't want to be swallowed up by the grease or by the juice. These words of wisdom with Chris Bass is brought to you by Southside Sunday Ponchos. If you don't want Jerry curl juice on your clothes, trust in Southside Sunday Ponchos. I'll let you finish it, Cole.
Oh, City Fifth approved.
Chris Bass joins us as he does every Friday. You don't know what's gonna happen,
and I love
when it does. We love you, brother. Thank you so much for coming on
again.
today, as always.
It's always my honor. Thank you for letting me be myself again. Everybody, have a fantastic weekend. Enjoy.
That's
Chris you off Bass. This week, huh?
I'm off, man. I need to take the time off to recharge my batteries, but I will be back next week.
I get it.
I get it. That's Chris Bass, aka Sly Stone.
And now, the transporter to Hades, the reformer of hooker whores, and the bronze god, the one, the only, the legendary Chris Bass.
All right, I'm going to pull a Brian here.
No, you're not.
Yeah, I am. So how come everyone has a video intro but me?
Because you're with us.
Everyone has a video intro but me.
You don't have a video intro because I introduce you uniquely to everybody else.
Hey, you can uniquely introduce me in a video.
Really?
I said I was doing a Brian.
I know you're doing a Brian, and I'm treating you like Brian. Really? Okay, fine. I'll all right. This will be one and yet another of the video packages you want me to do.
I like when you do my intro.
Thank you.
Bob Shepard would be proud. We're getting out of here. Have a great weekend. God bless. Remember to make your next move your best move, and always remember, if your dreams don't scare you,
you taking a big fat.
Which is what the Lakers will do against the Grizzlies in 5 games. I would say 4, but we don't need more content. Hell, that writes itself. We are out of here. We'll see you Monday. God bless y'all.
Peace. See ya. And that's a good point about All Can Boy, Ryan.